going to the other side of the pond.
Yeah. Portugal.
For the next few months, we'll be exploring some European countries. Started out in Lisbon for a few days to see the sights.
40? Yeah. Pretty chilly.
Sardines are very popular here, so much so that there is a whole store of different kinds of canned sardines and other seafood. They even have a Ferris wheel of sardines. The Jerónimos Monastery is one of the most important tourist attractions in Lisbon, a UNESCO World Heritage Site, and houses the tomb of the famous explorer Vasco da Gama, who was the first European to reach India by sea. Construction began in 1501 and wasn't completed until the 17th century. We decided to just admire it from the outside. Next we headed to Belém Tower, another UNESCO World Heritage Site and built in the early 1500s, identity symbol of the city of Lisbon and Portugal. Next we made our way down the coast to Boca del Inferno, translated as the mouth of hell, to see this unique arch and cliff formations which has been carved out by the power of the Atlantic.
That's pretty cool.
There were some tropical storms while we were here, so the winds were quite strong. There are lots of interesting old buildings in the city of Lisbon, and we had to take a ride on the famous Tram 28, which runs through the oldest part of Lisbon, Alfama, full of narrow, winding streets and iconic views over red-roofed neighborhoods. Baixia, the city's bustling downtown, and past Gracia and its famous churches. Unfortunately, the weather was not cooperating for our views, but it was still fun to ride and see the old fishing neighborhood of Alfama, built during the Moorish occupation of Portugal starting in the early 700s AD. You can see one of the Moorish castles there in the distance. We waited for a day without rain to head to the Peña Palace and Moorish Castle by train.
But today, there's trees falling on the road, so we have to walk up there. The buses aren't running. And our steps in. Maybe about 2 miles total uphill. We can do it. Getting close. There it is.
Another UNESCO World Heritage Site, you can see why it's described as an example of architectural eclecticism, as this 19th century masterpiece is full of vibrant colors, intricate ornamentation, and a fantastical design. It's a true blend of architectural styles ranging from neo-Gothic to Moorish. Each chamber is a window into the past, offering a glimpse into the lives of the Portuguese royalty and their extravagant lifestyle. Built for King Ferdinand II of Portugal and his wife, Queen Maria II, and designed to serve as a romantic fairy tale summer retreat to escape the heat of Lisbon for their royal family. Next, we headed to the Moorish Castle, a fortification founded in the 10th century when the Moors occupied the Iberian Peninsula, and it's a millennium old. It was founded under Islamic rule until it was handed over to the first king of Portugal in 1147 after the conquest of Lisbon. When a Christian population settled here, the Islamic quarter gave way to a medieval town which was inhabited until the 15th century. After that, it was steadily abandoned with the conflicts between Moors and Christians long over. When King Ferdinand II arrived in the 19th century, he began restoration work on the castle, which accidentally damaged part of the Christian burial grounds. So a tomb was built to house the bones found there. Since it could not be determined whether there were Christian or Moorish human remains, the tomb bears the inscription, "What man brought together, only God may separate." It is, of course, another UNESCO World Heritage Site with a rich history of the people that lived there from the Neolithic period through the Middle Ages, and has been undergoing archaeological excavation since 1976 and returned countless discoveries about the history of the site and its many inhabitants. Sitting high up on a peak in the Central Hills, its famous walls snake across the hill with their granite blocks interlocking boulders and cliffs. We had gale force winds this day and thought we might be blown off the top of the castle. It has a vantage point where you can look out and see the Atlantic Ocean. These silos were used for storing food such as grains and cereals. There's a great view of the Peña Palace from here.
Way to the top. Well, we've had quite a few transportation mishaps today, so we are now walking back to town, and the water is flowing. But we're getting our steps in.
We walked at least 25,000 steps that day, and these are some of the beautiful buildings we came across on the way back down the mountain.